Welcome back to the Maelstrom, ladies and gentlemen. We have another Warhammer 40k battle report for you today. We are visiting Planetary Onslaught today in the Cities of Death area. So we are playing 2,000 points, 1,000 Suns versus Death Guard. A traditional grudge match there. They are going to be playing Urban Assault. So there are 6 objectives and they generate 3 tactical objectives a turn. We have one of the objectives here, another one here, a third one here, a 4th one in the ruins behind, a 5th one over here, and a 6th one here at the base of the statue. They are deploying Death Guard in this quarter and 1,000 Suns in this quarter. We will be right back with the armies. First up, we have the Death Guard. Hutch is going to walk us down his forces.
Alright, so I am playing the Death Guard detachment with a Plague Colony Corps. I have 7 squads of Plague Marines. 6 are 5-man squads, 3 with double plasma, 3 double melta, and power fist. They are in rhinos with dodge casters. I have 1 7-man squad on foot with 2 flamers and a power axe. As the Lord, he is on a paladin with a plague bringer. I have for my auxiliary choice a squad of 2. I have 2 squads of 1 spawn. And in the command choices, I have 2 sorcerers with spell familiars, mastery level 3, and they rolled all their powers on the neural chart.
Alrighty, and we'll have those specific powers in the blog, and then additionally there are the rhinos for them. So that is the Death Guard. 1,000 Suns, Griff's going to walk us down his forces.
So I am playing a Grand Coven of Decurion style for the 1,000 Suns. For my core, I have a War Cabal that includes Ahriman and 1 sorcerer, rather. Then a single unit of 10 rubrics and a single unit of 5 Scarab Occult Terminators. Then for my first auxiliary, I have a Zangor Warherd led by a sorcerer with 4 squads of Zangors that are 10 men strong. Then for my next 3 auxiliaries, I drew 3 Demon Engines. They're 3 Mauler Fiends with no upgrades on them. Then for my final one, I have a Legion Armory that is a squadron of 3 Predators with Twin Link Las turrets.
Alright, so you've seen the armies and you have seen the table. We will be back as the war between decay and change begins. Alright, Death Guard deployed first. We're going to go down their deployment to begin with.
Alright, so I have the 3 Melta squads up front, 3 Plasma squads with a sorcerer attached to 2 of them. My Lord's attached to that Melta squad. Flamer squad back here in the back. Rhinos, of course, are empty or forming a wall. And the 2 individual spawn are off on the side.
Alright, and then we'll swing over here to the 1,000 Suns.
So for Ahriman's Warlord trait, I rolled a 2 on my infiltrate. So I spent my 2 points to give 1 of my sorcerers and 1 of my Zangor squads infiltrate and set them up outside of my deployment zone down here on the baseline. Then in the heart of the army, I've got a squad of Zangors up front, backed up with my Predators and all 3 of my Mauler Fiends making up the front line of the army. Then my Rubrics and my Scarab Occult standing behind them, and Zangors holding my extreme edges along either flank.
Alright, and the 1,000 Suns have decided they do not want to seize, so we're going to let the Death Guard do their thing, and we will be back as turn 1 gets underway. Alright, Death Guard are up to their next assault phase, so they're going to go ahead and go down their first turn here.
This turn was basically just moved and ran everything forward. These guys moved. The 2 spawn moved up and both managed to successfully charge the Zangors. That's the only assault we've got going on. Shooting phase, nothing really happened. Fired some inconsequential shots off the rhinos at some Zangors, didn't do anything.
Alright, so we're going to finish this assault phase up and be right back.
Alright, so the sorcerer with the Force Staff, punched 2 wounds out of a spawn. My unimpressive rolls back, I had 11 attacks. I hit with 2, wounded with both of them, and he made 1 of his 2 6+ armor saves.
Yep, so not much done there. They did both roll 4+ armor, so this guy actually would have also been wounded, but he did have his 4+ armor. So not much there. 2 wounds and a spawn, 1 Zangor. But 1,000 Sun response is coming up. We will be back as turn 1 concludes. Right, the Thousand Sons have broken the Death Guard shield wall. Josh is going to tell us about it.
So, moved the Zangors that were standing in front blocking line of sight out of the way in front of the buildings, ran them up so that they weren't giving cover to that first Rhino, let the last cannon Predators kill it for first blood, and then used the gap in my assault phase to charge one of the Mauler Fiends into a Melt-A-Gun squad, and the other two Mauler Fiends into the Rhinos on either side of the burning wreck. My Psychic phase, Armin did manage to wound himself with a Perils, but he got Psychic Shriek off all 3 times and managed to kill 3 of the Lord's retinue squad there. I also got Force off on my Rubric squad Sorcerer and Force off on the Warherd squad Sorcerer, so they are under their Blessing special rule now and are improving their invul saved.
Alright, so that is Zinch's turn so far. We're going to finish up this assault phase and be right back. Thousand Sons assault phase.
So we utilized Force to kill the unwounded spawn down here in this combat, but the Zangors managed to bolo and through all of their attacks couldn't roll a single 6 to put the other spawn down. So we are still hung in combat, but it could be worse. At least he didn't run me off and cut me down. The close combats in the middle, most of them went pretty much exactly the way we expected them to go. The 2 Mauler Fiends that charged the Rhinos made smoking ruins. I did manage to kill one of my own Zangors with the explosion of the one down here on the end of the L. The other one wounded a Marine, but he made his armor save when it blew up. The Mauler Fiend that charged the Melt-A-Gun squad squashed 2 of them in close combat, and unfortunately for him, his Sergeant only rolled 1 hit and then rolled a 1 for armor penetration. Just bad luck. So they are locked in combat.
Alright, we will be back as the Death Guard begin their turn 2. Alright, Death Guard turn 2, we're up to the assault phase.
Alright, so moved up, fired some Meltas at the Mauler Fiends and Plasmas. Managed to glance this one once. Managed to pin this one and stun it, and he failed his demonic possession, so he is stunned, so he's sitting there. I then flat outed the Rhinos to fill the gaps that were destroyed by the last Rhinos. I cast Fleshly Abundance to give my spawn his wounds back, so he's back to full wounds, and Curse the Leper to give my Lord +1 strength and toughness, and give the squad in combat with the Mauler Fiend in center +1 strength and toughness, so they'll at least get their feel no pain from against his attacks.
Alrighty, so we're going to do this assault phase, and we will be right back. Death Guard assault phase.
Alright, so as expected, the Sorcerer with Force just blew the spawn to pieces. The Lord charged the squad of Zangors. Had 12 attacks, thanks to the Demon Weapon and all his other bonuses. And killed 6. Took 1 wound in the process. They broke and ran, and I caught them. And then in the middle against the Mauler Fiend, the 3-man squad, he hit and wounded with everything, dealing me a total of 5 wounds. Thanks to my Curse of the Leper giving me toughness 6, I was able to still get my Feel No Pains, and I passed all 5 Feel No Pain rolls, and then managed to get 1 Glancer through with the Power Fists.
Yep, so they are still locked up there in the melee in the center. Thousand Sons turn 2 is coming up. We will be back after that. Thousand Sons have just completed turn 2.
Okay, so the movement phase was just a general advance. Shooting, the only thing that went down was this 1 Rhino here went down to the Predator's las cannon fire. The assaults were pretty key, though. The Zangors and their Sorcerer charged into this Plasma squad with a Sorcerer attached to it. The Mauler Fiend here in the center, who is under the invisibility power right now, got a charge off on those 2 Marines, one of whom has a Melt-A-Gun, making it very key. And Armin and the Terminators charged the remaining Rhino that was in range to get a hold of.
Yep, so we're going to run those assaults, and we will be back. Assault phase rolls to an end.
So the Mauler Fiend that had been tied into that Melta squad finally cut his way out and is standing in front of the horde of Plague Marines there. The Mauler Fiend that charged with invisibility on him this turn only managed to kill one guy, but did not take any damage in return, which will leave him locked in combat for my opponent's turn, which could probably be a blessing in disguise, considering he still does have some shooting weapons out there that can hurt him. The Zangors and the Sorcerer, they did what I wanted them to do. The Sorcerer went in, he stepped on the Plague Champion and killed the Power Fist out of the squad, but the Zangors just couldn't hold up to the damage output that squad still had with the Sorcerer in charge. I lost combat by 3, failed my morale check, but I did manage to get away. We ran 9 inches back towards the board edge, so hopefully they'll rally and we can get them back in the fight.
And then also the Rhino here.
Oh, yeah, and Armin and the Sorcerer didn't do anything. The 4 Terminators glanced the Rhino to death before the staffs even swung.
Yes. Alright, so one other end of turn bit. You want to roll your It Will Not Dies for your Mauler Fiends here?
Yeah, so we'll start up here.
Alright. So the guy in combat gets his whole point back, or the guy who just broke free, rather. The guy here with invisibility does not get his back, and the stunned guy does not get his back. So the one that just broke free gets his third one back. So that is turn 2. We will be back as the Death Guard get back to business. Death Guard, turn 3, up to the assault phase.
Alright, so we moved the Rhino up and jumped the Melta squad in to give them some protection against future charges and just fired out the top. Managed to get 2 penetrating hits on the Mauler Fiend and immobilized it, so good enough. Some other plasma shots toward it that didn't have other shots. They didn't accomplish anything.
Well, yeah, they did. They killed one of their own guys.
Yeah, so they accomplished less than nothing. This plasma squad fired at the Terminators, didn't kill any, made charges in. My Sorcerers and everything have formed together into one unit and charged what remains of that Zangor squad with the Sorcerer. And that was pretty much it for the shooting phase.
Yep, so we will be right back with the assaults. Third turn, right?
Third turn assault.
Third turn assault.
Alright, so the squad that charged the Terminators managed to kill 1 Terminator with the squad's attacks. The Power Fist champion survived his base Sorcerer's attacks and then managed to instant kill the Sorcerer and rolled Demon Prints on his boons. And then the character squad over on the end, my Chaos Lord rolled a 1 for his demon weapon, which made me very nervous. But I managed to get just enough attacks through to kill the lone sorcerer, and then my two sorcerers finished off the Zangors.
All right, and then that Mauler Fiend was in combat this turn, right?
Yeah, and it squashed the lone Power Fist guy, and then swept towards my Lord.
Yes, somewhat predictably. Alrighty, so Zinch is going to come back in turn 4, and we are bottom of turn 3, and we will be back following that. Thousand Suns, turn 3.
So the only two things that shot this turn were the Predators. Shot at that Rhino with the Melta squad inside of it. They glanced it and penetrated it, rolled a shaken, but they passed their BS1 check. It's the first time that unit has shot at a vehicle this game and not killed it. Then the Rubrics down here in the center of the army finally got into range and line of sight to let go on a squad and cleaned up the 3-man remnant squad that was left over after the combat with the Zangors before they got wiped out. For assaults, the Mauler Fiend down here locked up the Lord and his super friends, and the Mauler Fiend up there on top of the wrecked out Rhinos made contact with the shaken Rhino. And then, of course, we have the spillover left from the last turn of the Terminators, who managed to get invisibility off in the combat with the Plague Marines.
Yes, and we were not so sure this Mauler Fiend was going to make it. He did eat a Melta out of the top on Overwatch. Got a penetrating hit, but he did finally stop one with his 5-up. So we are going to run some carnage and mayhem in melee, and we will be back. Assault phase comes to an end.
So the Mauler Fiend down here managed to put a wound in one of the sorcerers with his Melta Cutter and squash the Lord with his Strength 10 attacks, which was slay the Warlord. It was a high point for the turn. The other Mauler Fiend Made contact with the Rhino, managed to knock the last hull point out of it. We did not blow it up, but the Marines did fail their BS1 check as they fell out of the Rhino, so their ballistic skill 1 going into the next turn. The Terminators with Armin played Gong Show. They did a whole lot of nothing, and he did a whole lot of nothing back, so we're still kind of just stuck.
Yep, and one thing he did not mention, this Maelstrom did lose a hull point to the Force Mauls. But he has 3 more will be back, or not will be back, old edition, getting behind myself. It will not die on his 3 Mauler Fiends. So the one in combat here does not get his back. The one that just blocked the Rhino does not get his back. And the immobilized one does not get his back. Alright, so that is the end of turn 3. And Death Guard turn 4 coming up. Alright, the Death Guard have finished up their turn up to the assault phase.
Alright, so this Plague Marine squad moved up. This squad snapshot at the Mauler Fiend, but did nothing. Demon Prince tried to move around to try and get to the Zangors, but realized there's no windows on that side of the building, so I cannot see them, so he's just kind of hanging out. Psychic power-wise, the sorcerers tried to cast a +1 strength and toughness to avoid being instant killed by Mauler Fiend and Subcoming Assault, and failed. Used the spell for a reroll and failed again. Oh, and I do need to resolve this charge against the Predators.
Okay.
To see if they make it.
A 7, that should do
They
it.
will succeed. So.
Alright. And that's the only charges you got.
That is the only charges that I had this time.
Alrighty, so we will be back following the assault phase. Top of 4 rolls to an end as the Death Guard concludes their assault phase.
So, against the Armin and his Terminator squad, I did not kill any of the Terminators, but I did lose 2 in return. 1 due to Armin and 1 from a Terminator. The squad that charged the Predators, I managed to explode the first Predator, but no damage to anyone else. And the Mauler Fiend against the 2 sorcerers, I was expecting him to just grab 1 in each hand and crush me. And we both boloed. I could not get that 1 last hull point removed, and he missed with his swing, so we are still there.
Yep. So we are going into the bottom of 4. We will be back after the Thousand Suns react. Thousand Suns finish up their turn 4 up to the assault phase.
So, not a lot of shooting, but some important shooting. The Rubric squad finished off another squad with their bolters. That Inferno boat roll just seems to be the real tipping point against the resilience of those Marines. The Predators zinged a couple of shots through the mass in the middle and managed to knock down one of those Plague Marines in the surviving Meltagun squad. And the last unengaged mobile Mauler Fiend managed to get into combat with the Demon Prince.
Yep, so we got some crucial assaults here, and we will be back. Alright, Thousand Suns assault phase, roll to an end.
Alright, so the Mauler Fiend down here against the Sorcerers didn't get a chance to swing. He glanced him out. Sad to see him go. He carried a lot of the weight for the army through most of this game. The Terminators and Armin, did I kill 1 or 2?
Yeah, you traded 1 to 1.
We traded 1 to 1. I knew I lost 1 Terminator and we killed 1 Plague Marine in return. The Mauler Fiend that went into the Demon Prince managed to kill him and consolidate. Nothing else. I mean, that's pretty much it. We're starting to dwindle down to a very low model count for both of us here in this. Yeah, the stuff that's actually engaged in the fight here.
Yep. Alright, so that is turn 4 completed. We are entering possibly the final phases of the game as Decay and Change continue to attack one another. And we will be back once Nurgle has made their moves. Death Guard, turn 5.
Alright, so the Flamer squad moved up here. The Melt squad moved around, shot, and managed to kill the Mauler Fiend. Flamer squad charged into Armin's Terminators. In the psychic phase, I attempted to give a wound back to the sorcerer in green armor, and it got denied. Attempted to plague wound on the squad of Rubiks, it got denied, but I did get Curse of the Leopard off on him, so he did get +1 strength and toughness.
Alrighty, so we're going into the assault phase, and then we will be back. Death Guard assault phase for turn 5 comes to an end.
Alright, so the 1 wound sorcerer charges into the Rubiks, and his sorcerers proceed to just cut my head off, smash my skeleton, and just moved on like nothing happened. Down here, Armin killed the champ with a power axe. Almost rolled Spawn Hunter. He rolled a 23, so I'll give him +1 attack. His Terminators killed the last plasma gun out of the first squad, but then the charging squad, through sheer number of attacks, managed to kill the 2 Terminators and Armin, and consolidated it back into the building.
Alrighty, so we're going into the bottom of 5. We will finish that up and then see how things go, if we are going to play a 6 or not. Alright, since the armies are getting small, the Thousand Sons went ahead and wrapped their entire turn up.
So, shooting the 2 last cannon predators shot at the Flamer squad that killed Armin, we did manage, even though he had cover and Feel No Pain, to drop one of his Marines with their 2 last cannons. Then, in the assault phase, the Rubrics charged into the last surviving Nurgle Sorcerer, and the Squad Sergeant beat him to death in close combat, killed him with a Force Staff, instant killed him, and then rolled a 22. For those of you that don't play Chaos, that means he is now a spawn. C'est la vie. It is what it is. Turn was very short. Armies are getting very small. We're going to roll to see if we go again.
With a 2, we will not. So, tallying points at that point is going to be 10-4 in favor of the Thousand Sons. We will have after-action reviews and army lists at the blog as always. Give us a like on Facebook, and a subscription on YouTube is appreciated more than you know. It lets us know that you guys are watching and lets us see some channel growth. We will continue to have more. We will continue to paint and get these armies done. And as always, thank you for spending time with us today at the Maelstrom.